listening to Party Time, My Golf Story with Kevin Walsh and whatever special guest he has today. You can check me out on episode 9 of the podcast. Today I'm wearing Grayson clothes while I'm out practicing because I believe in look good, play good. And follow me on Instagram, Sophia Warren Golf, and hope you enjoy the rest of the show.
It's Party Time, My Golf Story, brought to you by Party Drinks. Classically designed golf drinks for golfers by golfers. And the golf real estate pros Gene Walsh and Vince Vizzacaro. For your Southwest Florida real estate needs, check them out at suncoastdreams.com. Now here's your host, Kevin Walsh.
Hey, what's going on? Welcome to the program. We have one of my caddy buddies, Greg Corbo, is with us today. And we have a lot of overlap with our lives, both professional caddies. Caddying goes way back in our lives. We've done it for different reasons, continue to do it for different reasons. And we're both journalists. I mean, he is still an active journalist. I've been out of journalism as we know it for about 5 years, but he is a photojournalist for Golf Central magazine, which is based in the Central Florida area. And he's also a North Jersey native. And my rules about anybody from Jersey, if you're from Jersey, you're my buddy, all right? Because my dad was a Jersey boy. Notice I said North Jersey. Notice I said North Jersey, okay? Not Northern New Jersey, all right? That means you know something. Greg Corbo is our guest here on Party Time. Before we go any further, would you do me a favor? If you haven't done this, would you subscribe to the podcast? Because that means something to the nerds at YouTube, Spotify, and also Apple, and like the program. Leave some comments about the program because it's all about the metrics for those dweebs that run the technical websites and everything. And it also helps our sponsors as well. And a big thanks to our sponsors, Party Drinks. If you're looking for a drink alternative on the golf course and you're getting a little tired of those seltzers, and apparently, based on the research and the data, people are getting tired of it. They're looking for something different. Try a Party. For golfers, by golfers. Once you try a Party, you're not going to want to go back to those drinks that are named after a time of day or a crustacean, because it's that much better. And if you're in the golf industry and you're like, what's this Party stuff? Why do people keep asking me about it? Then Paradise Craft Distributors is the exclusive distributor in Florida for that. So have your people get in touch with my people at Paradise Craft, and we'll get you all set up. And a big thanks to the golf real estate pros of Gene Walsh and Vince Vizzacaro from suncoastdreams.com. If your dream is to live in a golf resort community like Lakewood National Golf Club, where the podcast originates from, then Gene and Vince can help you out. They live on the golf course. They know all about golf, and there's no better place for you than Lakewood National Golf Club. And it's a good time to buy. The market has softened a bit, so prices have come down. They're not at the super crazy heights that we were in the period of COVID. So get in touch with Vince and Gene, a division of fine properties in the greater Sarasota area. So enough about that. Let's talk to my buddy, Greg Corbo. How's it going, Jersey?
That was fantastic. Well done.
That's just the preamble. Oh, come on. I've done it so many different times. I mean, it's just like second.
No, but you're good at this. Almost like I watch ESPN a lot. I feel like you're almost there.
Almost got there. I mean, it's been a long time in sports journalism with different NBC regional sports affiliates and networks and everything. It's just, look, if you love sports and you're just you have a handle on conversation, it's easy. The thing is, you just got to be yourself instead of trying to be, I'm this big announcer guy, right?
A 6-pack and 2 guys.
6-pack. That's what we're doing. First of all, the nickname Jersey. Where does it come from? What's the genesis behind it? I know, but I want to hear from you.
So this happened on Stream Song. I was on 2 consecutive loops, and one guy got drunk and started. My name is Greg Corbo, and I used to go by Corbo, Corbo. Right? That's pretty easy. Corbo. Some guy decided to get drunk and started yelling my name and started calling me Corbo. So I let it go. It was fine. I got off that loop, and it was all good. The very next loop I got were on one blue tee box, and I had a bunch of Euros. I said, hey, guys, how you doing? And they were really nice chaps, all that stuff. And I said, hey, my name's Corbo. I'll be your caddy for the next 3 days. So one guy immediately approaches me and says, what's your first name? I said, Greg. And he goes, can we call you that? I said, fine. And then that's when I knew I had to change my name. So my roommate at home calls me Jersey because I'm from New Jersey, obviously, and some of my snide remarks kind of made her call me that, and so I went with it, and it worked out. I've picked up a lot of repeat clientele. You're not going to remember Greg, but you're going to remember a state name and a 2-syllable name. But for me, it's also a segue into where I work and what I do in New Jersey.
I didn't know that part. I thought I had it all figured out, but I like the marketing end. I like where your thinking is. And was I not right in the preamble talking about a real person from New Jersey refers to they're from North Jersey or South Jersey? There's a little central part.
You know, I feel like people from South Jersey are more Philly. They root for the Flyers, they root for the Eagles. So I think the state is almost a little divided, believe it or not. People from northern New Jersey, Jets, Giants, all that. South Jersey, the shore is great. I don't have a chance to get down there because I'm hauling luggage in Springfield. But people love their sports in New Jersey. But I think more people gravitate towards the Eagles and the Flyers and the Phillies in southern New Jersey.
Well, clearly South Jersey is Philly land. North Jersey is more up for grabs. But just the thing, just like referring to New Jersey as Jersey, I'm onto something, or am I overthinking this?
No, it's been a wonderful caddy name. Like, because at that time Greg Lookabill, Greg Knowles. So I didn't want to go by Greg. So it worked out great. So people know me as Jersey, and that's who I am now. And it's just easy. Like, I turn my head when they say it.
Yeah, I didn't think I knew your name.
Right.
I know.
Right. And that's boring because there's so many cool caddy names of Stream Song. So Denver, and I worked with a guy, Utah, and I didn't want to claim the state, but it just made sense. It was time for me to just own up. This is where I work. This is who I am. My name's Jersey. And that's how it went.
Jersey from North Jersey.
Baltusrol Golf Club, man. See the wings?
I see it. That is, it's one of the great logos in all of golf, isn't it?
I agree. Totally.
So tell me this: where are you joining us from? But where were you born and raised?
I'm currently in Lake Wales, Florida, at the headquarters of Golf Central magazine.
And where is Lake Wales? Give me a geographical lesson.
It's east of Bartow. My drive is about 45 minutes, through orange groves and phosphate mines. I pass about 2 stoplights, so it's very actually nice, especially on the way home. But it's been great here. I live in Lake Ashton, which is a golf community, 36 holes. I don't really play golf out here, but it's a great community, tons of amenities. Pool, hot tub, bowling alley, weight room, all that jazz. And it's just fun to live here for what I get and for what I do and what I pay. It's wonderful.
Where's home for you, though, in North Jersey? Tell me about your hometown and what it was
Montclair, New Jersey. That would be home. I obviously work at Baltusrol, Montclair. I used to work at Montclair Golf Club starting, it was years ago as a teenager. My dad was a member there. My brother was a member there. And it was an unbelievable place back in the 90s, mid-90s. There was loops falling out of the trees, man. All walking, 36 holes. Yogi Berra was a prominent member, Reese Jones, John McMullen, former owner of the Devils, John McLean. And what was unique about Montclair is that there's 4 nines, and each 9 was compatible. They're all a par 35, and you can mix and match each 9. So when you made the turn, you had 3 options. So it was really set up to move. And that's where I really learned how to double loop and volume loop, meaning taking loops. Guys were going 54 holes out there because you could, because of the way the golf course was set up. And I asked Reese about that. He said that, to his knowledge, is the only course in the country that had that setup where you have 4 distinct 9s. They're all par 35. All 4 nines, 3 holes go down the hill, 3 holes on the bottom, 3 holes back up. It was the site of the 1985 U.S. Amateur.
I remember that. And my father is from Montclair, and he caddied at Montclair Golf Club and has wonderful memories about it. And that's really what got me into caddying. Was my dad just spoke of it so highly in his teenage years, flexibility, a lot of money, being around people of clout. And here I am doing it years later. That was my hustle all through high school and through the college years. And then on the weekends when I was working in journalism, and now it's the full-time gig. But I would say this, it's either in you or it's not. My attitude about caddying is I look at it like I'm playing golf, I'm just not hitting the shots. And if you don't have a love for the game like that, it would be just too hard of a job. What are your thoughts on caddying and what makes a good one?
Well, back to the mid-'90s, it's funny when you think about it. We used to just show up as we dressed, like however we dressed. There was no rules. And then we would take a loop, and then we would have to search for yardage heads. There was no lasers. There was no technology. There was heavy bags. So I think back then that was real work. Now, having experienced that, this is not real work because I get to shoot a number and I don't have to search for yardage plates, and everything is much more condensed. I'm not wasting steps. I think the laser should be allowed on the PGA Tour. Like, it's public knowledge. Just let's get over that. Just let's shoot a number and move on because it just holds up play. But the laser has changed a lot, let's be honest. But now even with the bags, with the stands, that revolutionized the whole caddy game. I got to be for real.
Absolutely.
Back in the day, we used to lay the belting bags on top of each other and pick them up, and the straps weren't good. Mm-hmm. But now everything they figured it out. It took a long time.
And the good part about it is then you can really focus on the service of things and really helping people with reading the greens, giving them the yardage where the wind is and isn't. It saves you all the bending down and everything. And the laser, you can't argue with it. The technology's spot on, which should help the pace of play. I think, I have a theory on this, I can't prove it though, is the only reason they don't allow lasers on the PGA Tour is they haven't secured a sponsorship for it. Because there have been a couple events on the Corn Ferry Tour where they allowed it. And what's the difference between you stepping it off from a sprinkler head and just having the real deal? I mean, they're pretty close with how they're doing it the old-fashioned way, but why not just boom, done?
I keep reading about slow play on the PGA Tour, so I think this would be the first step. And maybe I'm wrong, I don't know, but this sounds pretty logical.
I think it would save minimum 7 to 8 minutes around, which would make a big difference for those guys out because they're so slow. And then that trickles down because everybody wants to play like a PGA Tour pro and they do all that stuff, and it's totally unnecessary. Greg Corbo is our guest here on Party Time, My Golf Story, brought to you by Party Drinks. If you're looking for a drink alternative on the golf course, try Party. The exclusive distributor of Party is Paradise Craft. If you're in the golf business and you don't have Party at your place, get in touch with Paradise Craft and they will get you all set up with that. And if your dream is to live in a golf real estate community like Lakewood National Golf Club in the greater Sarasota area, nobody better than the golf real estate pros of Gene Walsh and Vince Vizicaro from suncoastdreams.com, a division of Fine Properties. So tell me about your game. When did you start playing golf and what's the state of your game right now, Greg?
I played early. My father and my brother, who's 10 years older than me, influenced me. So I remember playing, around my yard, around my house, with a wiffle ball and like hitting trees and all that stuff. So I was ready to go. Played high school golf, was all county, college, had an award there. But my game right now is probably as good as it used to be. I'm just not as athletic anymore in my motion because I'm older now. But back when I, passed my PAT in I went to the San Diego Golf Academy. And I went there to maybe be a pro or figure out what I wanted to do in golf. But I, eventually wanted to go pass the, playing ability test to do that for myself. And I did it on my first try. Not many people have done that. And that was cool. But I realized I also didn't really want to be a pro and stand around in a pro shop and fold sweaters and sell shirts. There was more than that. So that's when I met Terrie Purdum with the Golf Magazine. And she lived kind of right across the street from me, right before I graduated the Golf Academy. And I fell into writing. And then it became journalism. And I had many very, very wonderful experiences with the Golf Magazine. And I was like, wow, maybe I can turn this into a career. And I did for a while. Worked for 2 newspapers, one in Tarboro, North Carolina, full service sports editor, photos, layout, headlines, all that stuff. Very awesome experience in a rural town that is sports hungry. They have nothing else to do but local sports. And then I eventually went to New Jersey and did the same thing at a weekly called the Montclair Times. And same kind of deal. I ran the whole sports section. We were New Jersey's best big weekly at that time. And it was fun, man, to be able to, go into sports hungry towns that have legendary history and to be able to put your own creative spin on it and take powerful photography with, crafty headlines, all that stuff, and then bring it to life. Yeah, it was very rewarding. And it's seriously something I'll always cherish. I never really got paid the way I wanted to, but it didn't matter. It was about me being an artist.
That's cool. That's cool because that's touching your spirit and you're touching people. And back in the days where I always started my day with the newspaper, I had subscriptions to all the cities I lived in. I started my day with that, with my coffee, and that was kind of a precursor to what was going to happen the rest of the day when I worked in news. And then later in sports, it was just a good head start, and I liked it so much. And now you're working for. I'm going to hold it up because I kind of found this in the Caddy Shack, and it's one of the few golf magazines that's still around in print. Tell me what you do and how it's going.
So we actually have a subscription drive right now as we speak. So if you sign up, you can either win a shot scope, laser, or a golf bag. But as of April 1st, Golf Central magazine will be 26 years old. And I helped Terrie Purdum, the publisher, start that back in '98 in Winter Springs. And it was originally called Florida Golf Central magazine. Then it became Southern Golf magazine. Now it's just Golf Central. No affiliation with the Golf Channel. The trick to publishing is to keep publishing, and that's what she does. She gets on the phones and she makes it happen. Shannon Coates is the editor-in-chief. She's been with the staff since like 2003. She's wonderful in what she does, and she brings it to life as well. There's 3 people that make this happen every month. I'm just kind of fill in, and I do stuff to help. Mainly my role now is just for ad leads. But as we know, since the pandemic happened, golf has had a rebirth. So the magazine has also benefited from that. And quite frankly, the golf industry is doing well because of the pandemic. Not many people realize this, but that was the only thing you can do during the pandemic was basically play golf. And I did a lot of that.
Of course. And you still play golf and take some good trips. So I would think if I were going to schedule a golf trip with my buddies, you might be my first call because you've been just about everywhere. Tell me about a place that's really cool that's not on the list of the usual suspects.
Well,
sleeper place.
I'll give you the one I went to, which was a surprise, which was in September. I was working and all of a sudden I got a phone call, and Terri's like, "Hey, can you possibly go to Nemacolin Woods and hang out and play golf, drink, eat, and do all this stuff on behalf of our magazine?" And I was like, "Sure. Yeah, I got that." So I did. It was late September, and the weather wasn't so great, but I got to go out to a place that I had heard about, but had never been to, way southwestern Pennsylvania, 15 minutes from the border of West Virginia, called Nemacolin Woods. It is possibly the most phenomenal resort I've ever been to, and I don't think I can go to another resort that can top it. Between the amenities, the landscape, the service, the views, it was tremendous. And like Pennsylvania, let's keep this in mind, it's not a bucket list destination, right? You don't like look at the map and say, hey, I want to go to Pennsylvania for a golf trip. But this 36 holes of Pete Dye on a mountain, Allegheny Mountains, and then nightlife is just beginning at, after your loop, or your round. There's a casino, there's a jazz cabaret, there's a zoo. There's just so much stuff to do. Like
stop. There's a zoo?
They have a zoo, they feed lions, they feed tigers, they do all this stuff there. They have up to 84 amenities. So 84 Lumber is their backing. Maggie Hardy's the owner, and Maggie not only owns Nemacolin, but she owns 84 Lumber. So the PGA Tour wants to go back there. They used to play out there at Mystic Rock years ago. So they're negotiating to go back out there, and we'll see if that happens. Mystic Rock is a wonderful golf course. I had a great round out there, impeccable conditions. And I think the best part about it is, like, once you finish your rounds, your adventure is just beginning. Like, let's go see what else is here. There's artwork, there's museums, they have all this stuff.
And who would know if you didn't know? And that's why magazines like yours can tell the untold stories that people not in the know can get involved in it.
Right. So 2 of their golf courses are ranked in the top 5 of Pennsylvania, Mystic Rock and Shepherd's Rock. And I highly recommend it. Both Pete Dye.
Sounds good. Hey, let me take you back to a difficult time in our lives, American life. September 11th, 2001. Where were you and what were you doing?
So I was putting together my sports page in Tarboro, North Carolina, and we had this small little TV with a hanger that actually had some reception to it. And we figured out that something was going on. But then we realized, the AP wire, we started getting flooded with the AP wire playing tower. So then it took about an hour for us to we were an afternoon paper, so we hit the streets at 11. But what we realized is we were under attack, and then we completely changed the paper. So we had a late press release, which was about 2 or 3 p.m. So we wiped everything. I'll never forget it. My editor turned around. We built our paper, and then we realized we were under attack, and then we completely cleaned it and then made a new paper. Most of my sports section was AP News on what was going to happen with football, all this stuff, basketball, that kind of stuff.
Now, I imagine in addition, so you're busy doing this work, trying to get the work done after just a total curveball was thrown at you, but your heart has to be back in Jersey, and you're probably thinking about some members that you caddied for that may have been in harm's way.
So I eventually found out that one of our prominent members at the Montclair Golf Club, Stephen Roach, great guy, had lost his life. He worked with Kenner Fitzgerald. Kenner Fitzgerald was pretty much hit the hardest. That level of flooring in the tower. It's really unfortunate. My brother lost a friend from F&M. And then so once I got back to New Jersey, we started I did, a caddy walk, a memorial caddy walk. It was called Be a Hero for Zero, walk into ground zero. And, it was just basically to take a day out of our lives, to go in and remember what happened, but we carried bags in. We started from the Shillelagh Club, which is right across the street from Essex County Golf Course in West Orange. And we walked basically through West Orange into Newark, and then got on the PATH train and went into Manhattan and did a few loops. And we did this for about 8 years. And it started as 2 people, and then it got up to like 24 one year. And then the people started to recognize us. It was kind of cool. Didn't matter. We were just there to do what we wanted to do. And in 2012, we were invited into the reflection pools before it opened. It was only for families and firemen and police, but they had recognized us. So they invited 12 caddies from New Jersey into the reflection pools to see the stuff before the public. And I think I'll hang my hat on that. And that was kind of cool.
So you're carrying golf bags. Were they the bags of the members who passed on 9/11?
Oh, no, we didn't do that, but we carried full bags, and we kind of walked in a column, and people obviously were looking, honking quite a bit. They were like, there's no golf course around here. And we were like, we know. And we just kept walking, and we went to ground zero and we hit a few balls. So what we did was we memorialized members from several clubs that were lost. I figured out, once Stephen Roach was lost, there were several members. Upper Montclair lost 3. Ridgewood lost like 2 members. Rock Spring, Finnegan, and Murray were lost. Greenbrook Country Club lost Norman Rossinow. I just know that name for some reason. So it just became one of those things that I figured out it wasn't just, Stephen Roach. There was many people and clubs. And I just did a little bit of research, and we honored people each year. We honored everybody, but we honored specific people each year on the tragedy. That's
beautiful. Can you give me an idea of how emotional it was for you when you were at the reflection pools? What was going through your mind? It was so, because there were still drapes. I remember that, and it was kind of creepy. It was very quiet, and I just remembered I wanted to get out of there. It was kind of a long walk. We walked like 20 miles, so we're kind of like beat up, and we have blisters, and we have gear on us. But that's the whole point. We're going in there to honor these people, and we're making a march in there, man. On concrete, but that's fine. That's totally fine. A blister or 2, maybe a sore hip in the morning, I'm okay with that. When I saw people diving out of the towers, come on. Your life changes when you see that stuff. For sure. So, yeah, we don't do it anymore. We're just older now. I can't really do that, but we did it, and it was cool. Yes, it was. When I think of September 11th and I marry it in with golf, I always think of Jimmy Dunn. And if he hadn't been playing golf on that day, he would have been among the dead at Sandler O'Neill, where the second plane hit the second tower. Do you know Jimmy? Do you have any? No, I know he's a member of Seminole, and I know he's trying to marry the LIV Tour and the PGA Tour. I know he's a big player in golf. Of course I know who he is. And if not for golf, if he wasn't playing golf that day, he would have perished with everybody else. And I think he, and not that we think that golf is going to save our life, but it certainly did on that day. And so, small little story. When the membership at Montclair Golf Club realized Stephen Roach had perished, they called everybody off the golf course. And it was a beautiful day that day. But everybody was called off the golf course, and they all went in. And that's the truth. I wasn't there, but that's what I heard. Tell me this: what makes a good caddy, in your opinion? Like, what are you trying to do for the people that you're looping for? Well,
Well, it goes back to what I was taught early on. Show up, keep up, shut up, and only speak when spoken to. And then it goes from there. You know, if somebody wants to ask me a question, yeah, I'm going to provide yardage and reads and all that stuff. But I'm pretty much a fly on the wall, man. That's how I like to do it. Because this is their time. I don't want to be an entertainer. I'm not a comedian. I'm here to caddy. I'm here to make you have a better experience, but I'm here to make your ball disappear quicker than you think maybe you can do it. That's what we're here for.
Do you think this is one thing that I've thought about before? I think sometimes a good caddy is like a good waiter or waitress. They're there when you need them. They don't overdo it.
Right.
They don't overtalk it. They don't oversell it.
Right. I'm help desk 411. I'm here. You know, most people know what they're doing, but actually I should take that back. Most people don't. It's amazing. You know, we work for some of the most successful people in the world, and then they show up to the golf course and they don't know how to tie their own shoes. It's crazy. But this is why we have, you know, this job, and this is why we do what we do. We're fairway consultants. You know, it's amazing to me, but it's going to go on and it's never going to end. People need help with golf. Not just golf, but getting around the golf course. Yeah. Like, where am I going? Like, what do you mean, where am I going? The fairway's 200 yards wide. We're on the blue course. You see the people in front of us. How do you not know where you're going? Like, open up your eyes.
Well, just tell them the way too. Be a good shepherd. That's another thing I like.
One of my favorite things is somebody says, is this uphill or downhill? And then my next question is, what do you do for a living?
Tell me this. Have you ever caddied for the president?
Who, Trump?
Yeah.
No. My most famous loops are Yogi Berra, Mario Lemieux, Fred Ridley. I just had him this summer. I had Ryan Leaf this summer at Baltusrol. That was interesting. Gene Michael. So we used to have the Yogi Berra outing at the Montclair Golf Club in the mid-90s, and everybody used to show up back then. Devils, Rangers, Yankees, and it was huge. You know, we had 36 holes, so it was a sellout, and it was for the Boy Scouts of America. And everybody would show up, like Giuliani back then, and it was a big event. And yeah, so famous loops are great, but it's just all the same. It really is. Like, yeah,
your job doesn't change much.
No, it's the same. I'm doing the same service, and I'm just doing the same thing. I'm being me. It's golf.
How good is Mario's golf? And how good of a guy is he? I've heard people gush over him. You tell me. You've been there.
So I love to caddy for hockey players because they understand face control, right? I used to caddy for Martin Brodeur. He was a member of Essex County Country Club. And all hockey players are good because they understand face control, right? And that's what I'm big about. Who isn't? But Mario, as advertised, was like a 2 handicap. And I got invited to the loop by like the president of the Penguins. It was a 2-ball at Pine Tree Golf Club in Boynton Beach. Here's kind of a funny story. So, you know, there's a little pressure maybe because, you know, Mario's big time guy at that time. This is 2008, right? So we're on the 3rd hole. He hits a shot out of the rough. And I used to carry sand, like I used to throw it. I didn't like drop it out of a bottle. So he hit his shot, and as soon as I threw the sand, he moved his foot as the sand was coming down into where the divot was. And then he stops and he looks, so I basically sprinkled his whole shoe into the sock. And he looks at me, he goes, "Great job." I was like, "Thanks, buddy."
You got any Arnold Palmer stories, Jersey?
Yeah, the best one, I used to work out there 99, 2000, right after I graduated the golf academy. So I was in the shootout. The shootout was every day from like 12 to 12:40, and there was, they would play in like fivesomes because they were that fast. But I had Mr. Damron, father of Patrick and Robert. He lived, they lived on like the 12th hole or whatever. But Arnie was.
This is at Bay Hill. This is at Bay Hill.
This is at Bay Hill. Oh yeah. This is like 90. This is 1999 for sure. And we get to the 6th hole. To me, one of my favorite holes on the golf course, the par 5, the horseshoe around the lake, and it's Arnie's, turn to hit, and he grabs like a 5-wood out, and he notices the grip is like not as tacky as he wants it. So we watch him go into the cart. He untwirls the grip. He takes out a new grip. He takes some spray, sprays the shaft down, wraps the leather around the shaft, puts it in his hands, like we've all seen him do it on the Pennzoil commercial or whatever, or the Grip High commercial. And then he hits the 5-wood, basically like just short of the green, right up on the front edge. I was like, I've never seen anybody regrip a golf club in their pre-shot routine in my life. That's pretty impressive.
That is impressive. What was he like though to caddy for? Like, was he interested in your life, entertaining?
Very nonchalant. He asked me like one question on like 13 tee box, like, what do you do? I was like, I work for a golf magazine, and that was really it. But Bay Hill was, to me, it's one of the hardest golf courses in the Florida swing, especially if there's wind. There's, those kidney-shaped greens, there's water, there's force carries, right? So it was a really cool place to caddy at because you never knew who was going to come up or show up. And the terrain is also very unique, in my opinion. It just goes down into this valley and there's water. It's the Butler chain of lakes, right? So I feel like they could almost hold the U.S. Open out there.
Well, we see the scores with the PGA Tour, and they can really trick that place up. And when the wind blows, you're right. My gosh, that place can play super hard. And just to play there because of the past with Arnold and his contributions there, and now his grandson Sam Saunders running thing, they still do such a nice job there. Jersey, Greg Corbo is our guest here on Part T Time, My Golf Story, brought to you by Part T Drinks and the Golf Real Estate Pros, Vince Visicaro and Gene Walsh from SuncoastDreams.com. Greg is one of my caddy buddies, and he's been around the block in North Jersey and also a photojournalist for Golf Central magazine. Jersey, winding down here, if you had, now I know you're a good player, what's the index right around now?
I'm probably like a 2. I just had a nice round. So the opening of Solita Golf Club down in Sarasota, where it's a Nick Price design, and it's going to be the future home of the David Ledbetter Academy. So I was there for media day. I had a nice round. I shot 69 on a golf course I'd never seen before. And for me, my age, I was very happy with that. So, I'm like a 2 handicap. I don't really go under par a lot. Of course, we're trying to, but I'm usually right around par, just a few over.
69, seeing the course blind. So you have credibility out the wazoo with the caddying and your playing experience. So my final question for you is, if you had one tip to give any golfer of any ability that would make a profound difference in their game, what would it be?
So I'm big on lever system, Kev, meaning like creating lag, meaning creating the hinge early in the golf swing. less moving parts. I go back to Byron Nelson. There was a triage of Byron Nelson, Ken Venturi, and John Cook. And if you look at those three golf swings, you're going to see the same thing. And actually, Byron Nelson's golf swing was mirrored after the USGA. They created a mechanic moving called the Iron Baron. It was a mechanical moving, thing that would hit balls. But less moving parts. It's all about creating lag and using centrifugal force. In my mind, Sergio Garcia is probably one of the best ball strikers I've ever seen. If you look at what he does and how he uses his hands and how he creates lag, it's pretty special. Sergio's underachieved a little bit. At least he got a Masters, so he always has a place to eat and play every April. But for me, when you watch that golf swing and you watch what he does with his hands, that's what you should be trying to do. Anybody who waits long to create the hinge or, the angle, the lever, you're waiting too long. Create it basically in the first few steps. But also I'll say, swing through the golf ball, not at it. A lot of people are swinging at it. And a lot of people get freaked out by the golf ball because they think the golf ball knows who they are. And that bothers me. I saw Mo Norman up in Palm Coast one day right before he died, give a range demo. And I was very spooked out by what he was saying, but I listened to it. Golf ball doesn't know who I am. So you just walk up on it, hit it, right? Easy. Boom. It's about KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid. Conrad Railing was the Alabama golf coach who I got to meet at the Golf Academy, and that was his method, KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid. And like Delroy said the other day on the blue course, they said to him, what made you so good? Delroy went 62 12 times. And he goes, I watch people mess up. I try to do better. It's just like that.
It is. And you're talking about Delroy Cambridge, who's one of our caddy buddies, who has, I think it's 168 professional worldwide pro wins, greatest golfer ever to come out of Jamaica. And anything that he says, it's profound because it's coming from him. And then the Jamaican accent just makes it even that much sweeter.
It's hard to believe when you look at him, like he doesn't look like a golfer for some reason. But I have to do my own research and watch it and see it. He's a big boy, and I need to see it, and I can't wait to. I'm gonna YouTube him tonight.
Well, you're going to see somebody that really knows what he's doing, striking the ball, because I enjoyed this conversation. I enjoyed all my conversations with you, Greg, and I definitely enjoy my conversations with Delroy Cambridge, and maybe we got to get him on the program. He'd be a good guest, don't you think?
Oh, you better do that.
Yeah, okay, I'll work on it. Hey, listen, really appreciate the time. I'll see you at the Shack probably tomorrow. Man. Or sometime soon. Just stay put as I wrap things up. Hey, you can follow Greg Corbo, Jersey as we know him, at Golf Central Magazine. And big thanks to our title sponsors, Party Drinks. If you're looking for a drink alternative on the golf course, try a Party. And the Golf Real Estate Pros from suncoastdreams.com. Gene Walsh and Vince Visicaro in the greater Sarasota area. For Jersey, Greg Corbo, I'm Kevin Walsh. We'll see you again next time on Party Time, my golf story.
You've been listening to It's Party Time, my golf story, brought to you by Party Drinks. Classically designed golf drinks for golfers by golfers, and the golf real estate pros Gene Walsh and Vince Visicaro. For your Southwest Florida real estate needs, check them out at suncoastdreams.com or call 941-220-4000.